And we are live, living color here, folks, on the Sports Talk Nation on YouTube. Folks, Michael Cohen here with you, and of course my guest, Karen Van Cat. Boy, oh boy, folks, the Super Bowl is now upon us. The matchup is now set. Super Bowl 52 is going to be two teams that everybody loves to hate, the Patriots and the Eagles. We'll get into that. We'll get into a little bit of the Giants as they announced their head coach in Pat Shurmur. They made that official. Let's just hope that he doesn't bring performances like we saw on Sunday with him. And we are ready to rock and roll on this show. Now, as we get things going here, folks, and we now have Super Bowl 52 now set, I have to say this. I cannot believe, and I know we'll get into the matchup of how the game's played out and everything else like that. I cannot believe, Karen, the outpouring of angst and anger and disgust about this matchup. It just amazes me. Every person I've talked to, and we talked off air, you are now the fifth person that I've talked to in the last 2 days, on the phone or even just text message, that they are considering not watching the Super Bowl. There are so many people, even online, social media. No one wants to watch this game between the Eagles and the Patriots. And it's not because we've seen this matchup before. We saw it, 13 years ago with Donovan McNabb with the Eagles and Brady over there with the Patriots, obviously. But it's just the fact that you have two teams that everyone hates. You have a dynasty that just doesn't seem to want to ever end. I mean, it just continues. It's the same movie over and over and over and over again. And you have a fan base in the Eagles that everyone just cannot stand, period. So it's just a combination of so many things, and I'm fascinated. I'm just fascinated by what this is going to do to the ratings. Are people actually not going to watch this game?
Well, and especially the New York area.
Yeah.
I bet you, I can almost guarantee the ratings will be down. Now, Super Bowl Sunday, I'm going to be in Florida. I'm going away for a week, and it's going to encompass that night. I don't have to watch the Super Bowl. Mm-hmm. I'm in Florida. I could be doing other things. So, I mean, I don't know. To be perfectly honest, I don't know. If there's a good, marathon on of some show, I may watch that. I don't know. I'm not going to say I'm not going to check in to see. But as a New York Giant fan and from the New York area, am I rooting for Philly? Never. I would never root for Philly. Mm-hmm. I mean, that's like rooting for the Boston Red Sox. And then let's go over there. There's the Patriots from Boston. Mm-hmm. And those fans think who they are anyway, as it is too. Mm-hmm. It's not just the teams here. Let's clarify things a little bit. It's also the fan base. Look at what happened in Philly. Before the game, they had police officers greasing the poles with Crisco. Mm-hmm. These people still got on the poles afterwards, but before the game, hours before, they had the cops with the horses. Mm-hmm. They showed it on, the guy with the bloody face.
The guy punched a horse.
They were going after each other. They weren't going after Minnesota fans. They were fighting among themselves already. Mm-hmm. That's the kind of fan base they are. They're probably the worst fan base. Boston, I think so. I know both those cities are saying New York is. But New York doesn't do this crap when they win championships.
Hey, look, you know what?
All right?
I've been to many games in New York, whether it be basketball, baseball, football, and we've had the visiting team's fans in there. And I'll be honest with you, and I'm not going to sit here and say that New York fans are saints. I'm not going to sit here and say that, because there's some fans that are New York fans that get inebriated and they misbehave. I understand that, but Absolutely. As far as walking into the parking lot, and there's a video of the Philadelphia Eagle fans screaming at Viking fans, giving the finger, get out of our stadium, get out of our city, blah blah blah. I'm not going to repeat some of the words they say, obviously, on a radio show, but you get the point. And I've never seen, whether it be Jet fans, Giant fans, walking up to an opposing fan. Let's just take Jet fans, for example, okay? I've never seen Jet fans walk up to, let's say, I don't know, Cincinnati Bengal fans or Dolphin fans say, get out of our stadium, Now, I will say this, to defend the Philadelphia fan just a little bit. What kind of age group of fans do we see in these videos? What kind of age group? They're all in their 20s. Most of them are in their 20s. So I understand if you are a 45-year-old fan of Philadelphia and you're watching this and saying this is not the way we're supposed to behave. Okay, I'm not talking about you. We're not talking about you. We're talking about this group of fans.
The millennials.
The millennials. That's what it's turning out to be. the people that are running into poles, apparently in subway stations. I'm sure you saw that video. These are the people that are destroying the experience for everybody else. I feel bad for any Viking fan that went to that stadium on Sunday. I really do. One, you had to know what you're getting yourself into, and two, to actually go through that and go through with that. I can't even fathom going to Philadelphia at any point, let alone an NFC Championship game, with the way those fans acted.
Well, I'll tell you something. My cousin is a Giant fan.
Yeah.
She married a Philly guy. He's all Philly.
Yeah.
She's a Giant Yankee fan. They have season tickets to the Eagles. When they first started, when they were dating, he would take her, and she'd wear her Giant jacket or shirt, and was the heap of abuse from the people. Now, of course, they know her, all right? And they're around the people who are also season ticket holders. So she's not abused like she maybe when she was first dating him, because they've been married, I think, 20 years, more than 20 years now.
Yeah.
So, that went away. But they know her, all right? And they know she's with Bill, who's the Philly guy, and blah, blah, blah. So, but when she first started, it was ruthless with them. And he had to say, listen, hey, back off as a Philly guy. That's the kind of fans they are. They're the ones at Veterans Stadium. They had to have the judge because there was so much violence. And they'd try him right down in the basement, remember, at Veterans Stadium or whatever? They booed Santa Claus, which is a long time. There's so many things with them. If you look at fan bases, yes, they're passionate. Just like New York, Boston, the East Coast fans are probably the most passionate, or the Northeast fans, I should say, that corridor. And you can include Pittsburgh, and the Steelers, and, you could include Pennsylvania in that, this grouping of very passionate people. But you have extremes of all fan bases, but for some reason, to me, Philly is not just the extremes. It's a lot of their fans, and they're all talking. They were showing them the one guy, he wasn't 20. The one guy who was already drunk, mouthing off. This guy was probably in his 40s. Yeah, they showed one video, and he was mouthing off about Philly, and everybody pouted us out. They start the trash talk, blah blah blah. But he was totally bombed. They are just. I understand their angst as a fan base, because when was the last time any Philadelphia team won a championship? Anyone?
Well, the Phillies in 2008. That's it. That's all they got.
Right. That's all they have. They have no big championships. They have no Super Bowls. They have. When was the last time the Flyers won the Stanley Cup?
Exactly.
You're going back to the 70s.
The 76ers, same thing. Yeah, it's been forever.
Yeah. This town is so rampant for any championship they could get their hands on. So in that respect, I understand that, but you don't need to be violent.
No, you don't. Look at Cleveland. You mentioned Philadelphia being a sports city that's deprived, right, of championships, with the exception of the Phillies 10 years ago. Look at Cleveland. They don't win anything. I know the Cavaliers have been to the finals the last 3 years, and they won one against the Warriors. I get that. But they never win anything. The Indians go to a World Series a couple of years ago. They're up 3-1, and they choke. And they haven't won a World Series since 1945. The Browns, let's not even go there. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
They never win anything. They lose their football team. They go to Baltimore. They win 2 Super Bowls. They're the best team ever. All of a sudden. Cleveland can't win. But do you see? I don't see anybody in Cleveland, in Cleveland Browns Municipal Stadium, or whatever they call it now, throwing punches at Bengal fans and throwing. We certainly, if it's happening, and there's always a chance it's happening. It certainly is not broadcast the way it is with Philadelphia. It certainly isn't. You don't see the fans going out of their way to make sure it gets broadcast the way Philadelphia fans do.
Right.
It's incredible.
No, I still think, when they talk about fan bases again, I think Philly is the worst fan base. I think Boston is a second. You could put New York third, but New York still, when we win championships, we don't act like animals. We're not in the streets. When the Yankees win, the last time anybody came on a field or a court was when the Yankees won in '76. Remember Chambliss hit the walk-off home run? That was the last time you ever saw it, and that was a long drought for New York fans, period. I don't care if you were a Yankee fan, Met fan, a football fan. There was no championship, I think, because that was 76. You're talking when the Jets won the Super Bowl in the 60s?
Yeah.
The Yankee team stunk in the 60s. You know, so in the 70s, early 70s were horrible. The Mets were horrible. The New York Giants weren't good. And the Jets, they won that Super Bowl back in, what was it, I forgot what year, but
68.
in the 60s. But that was 68. So you're talking even before that, there was nothing. But you did, you know, and so everybody got crazy, I think, with that 76 thing. But after that, you never saw that again. You never saw, I don't care if the Mets won, when they won their World Series in 86, when the Yankees won more, even in the 90s again. The Giants won a couple of Super Bowls, a number of Super Bowls. So you didn't see that violent. There's no reason to be violent. There's no reason to burn cars. I forgot where it was where they won. They were turning over cars. And why?
It doesn't matter.
Why are you destroying your city?
I don't understand it. I really just do not understand it. And it seems like Philadelphia takes pride. I'm not saying everybody. Okay, I want to stress that for anybody listening and thinking that we're grouping everybody in Philadelphia and southeastern Pennsylvania into this group or not. The fact is, I don't understand why there's a large contingent of fans that feel that this is the way it should be, and that they hear all these horrible stories about what people are experiencing in Philadelphia, and they don't want to change it. They say, you know what? Let's let everyone thinks we're the worst fans. Let's show them that we are the worst fans. Why do you want to show that? I don't understand that mentality. Yeah. Why do you want to show that? Like, if people are running around saying that you're the worst fans, wouldn't you want to say, hey, we're not the worst fans? Wouldn't that be the mentality you want to have? I just don't get it.
To be proud of your city. I mean, remember the Ranger fan that was knocked out?
Right.
Outside after Philly, or before even the Phillies and the Flyers and the Rangers played down in Philadelphia. I mean, he was like attacked. He was a military guy too. He was just overseas, and he's getting attacked by Philly fans because he's got a Ranger jersey on. I mean, how insane is that? The guy is just fighting for his life in Afghanistan, comes back, and then gets, I mean, that's ridiculous.
I'll say this.
Absolutely ridiculous.
I'll say this. Some of those videos looked like a war zone. I'm being honest.
Yeah.
It looked like a war zone. It's crazy. It's just down I-95.
Before the game. That was before the game. I mean, as far as me and the Super Bowl, this is like I just.
Yeah, and let me say this about the Patriots on the other side of this coin too, because the thing with the Patriots is this: there's this sense of inevitability regarding the Patriots, that they are inevitably going to become world champions. That no matter how many points they're down in a game, they're going to find a way to win. And yes, I'm not trying to take any of the greatness away from what they've done and how great Brady and Belichick have been. Not trying to take that away at all. But for the average football fan, the fan going in there wanting to watch this game, the Super Bowl, or these playoffs, the reason that people are losing interest is because the Patriots are making it somewhat boring. They really are, with the way they just always find ways to win, always find ways to get the breaks, and they have all these conspiracy theories with the officials. Now, I don't think there's much to it, especially with the official that was so-called smiling in the end zone with the Patriot players. I think he was trying to peel a guy off from yelling at another player from Jacksonville, and I think he was saying, calm down, calm down. He happened to crack a smile at that. Maybe he said something funny to the guy. I don't know.
Yeah, but there was a bunch of questionable calls.
No doubt. There's a whole bunch of questionable calls.
I don't know if the NFL wanted them there.
Yeah.
I don't know. You could say, because we talk about conspiracy all the time in all different sports. I think just the bottom line is, like people say, get tired of the Yankees.
Yeah.
Remember during the 90s when they were winning championship after championship, and to think about it, if the guy from Cleveland doesn't hit the home run off now, the Yankees really could have had almost 7 in a row. Think about the 2001 one when Mariano, he gives up, that crack bat hit, and the Diamondbacks win. They should have won that one.
Yeah.
And the Cleveland one, I'm not saying they would have won that World Series, but they would have gotten to that World Series. Cleveland stunk up the joint against the Marlins.
Mm-hmm.
The Yankees had a better team. I mean, conceivably, they could have won that many in a row, 6 in a row or something.
Yeah,
I mean, and I understand as a Yankee fan, that's why the Yankees are hated. You know, and when people get into arguments with me and start, oh, you're a Yankee fan, blah, blah, blah. And then I pull out, well, they've won 28 world championships. And people, oh, yeah, we got to listen to that. Well, that's the truth. Your franchise is based on championships. In the end, that's what people look at. That's the factor.
And that's another.
And
that's
the fact. And I say that to people. I say, you can moan all you want. You say, oh, what have you done for me lately? You got so many Well, you know what? For a franchise, just like the Montreal Canadiens have the most in hockey, just like the Celtics have the most in basketball,
mm-hmm.
the Yankees have the most in baseball, and it's too bad.
Mm-hmm.
And the closest competitor, I think, is St. Louis at 9 or 10, maybe. I mean, the closest franchise. So a lot of people have a lot of catching up to do.
They do. And I'll say this, a lot of people threw out the thing with the Patriots that they are the greatest dynasty in sports. Maybe in football. I don't know about when you say in sports, you're bringing in the Yankees into the conversation.
Absolutely not. Absolutely not in sports.
You can't. You can't say that. You can't say that. You bring in the Yankees into the conversation. You bring in the Celtics, and you can't bring that up. You can't say that. They're not the great.
Those 3 teams that I mentioned.
Yeah.
Those franchises are better than the Patriots.
Of course. Absolutely true. Absolutely true. Now, you mentioned the calls that the Patriots are getting, and the lot of questionable calls. The fact that the officials played a big part in 2 Patriot touchdown drives, I thought was just absolutely outrageous. Now, I understand you have to throw a flag when you have a helmet-to-helmet hit, but when you watch that play, Karen, in slow motion, he wasn't aiming for Gronkowski's head. He was aiming for his shoulder. And, we see this called all the time with the safeties. They get flagged for hitting the guy in a helmet when all they're trying to do is jar the ball loose by hitting the shoulder, and accidentally the helmet hits helmet to helmet. I don't like the rule. I know it's a rule. I don't like it. It's just the way it is. But the pass interference call on Bouye down the sideline, come on. I mean, really? Brandon Cooks is pushing off. And then whenever I see a Jaguar receiver trying to get to the football, they're getting mugged, and there's no flag being thrown.
Exactly.
I mean, that was ridiculous.
There was one, he had his, I forgot what play it was, the defensive back had the guy almost like a horse collar.
Yeah.
He actually had his hand in the shirt,
mm-hmm.
the back, and if that was caught, that could have been, I forgot exactly what the play was, and they didn't call nothing.
Mm-hmm.
And they were going berserk. And I'm like, all right, but you're calling it. That's where you got to be fair.
Yeah.
All right, you want to call what you called against Jacksonville for the Patriots? Well, you got to call similar stuff,
mm-hmm.
and it's obvious. It's not like ticky-tacky hand checking.
Mm-hmm.
He's grabbing his jersey
mm-hmm.
as he's going for the ball. And I want you to answer me this one question, because then you talk about conspiracy theories.
Sure.
Leonard Fournette, towards the end,
mm-hmm.
he never reached for that ball. They would have the ball on the 5-yard line. He never moved his arm. It just was right there. We were all going berserk at where we had to watch in that portion.
Yeah,
you remember that towards the end of the game?
That was
and Bortles threw it up there,
mm-hmm.
and Fournette, all he had to do, he didn't even attempt to put his. I was like, it was right there. Whether you drop it when you hit the ground, whatever happens, but his arms. I said, are you kidding me?
Mm-hmm.
I mean, he didn't even make an attempt on that. They catch that. They're on the 5. They're going in for the go-ahead score at that point. Where was his head? I'd love to know. I'd love to ask him. You didn't even make an attempt.
You
didn't make an attempt.
The only thing that I thought on that play, and that was the bomb down the sideline, and he was wide open. No one was around him who would have scored the touchdown. That maybe the ball was just a little bit overthrown on Bortles' part, but
no, it was almost underthrown on that play. And I swear, I was like, what? He didn't even put his arms. He didn't
mm-hmm.
even try. He didn't even make an attempt. I don't care what's happening. I don't care
mm-hmm.
if you think it's over your head. You see guys all the time trying to jump up, trying to dive if it's a low throw. He made no attempt to do anything. And it just fell.
And how about this one?
Incomplete.
How about this one? Because that's a good point too. But how about the one in the beginning of the fourth quarter? That was the fumble. Remember the fumble by Dion Lewis? And
no, I didn't see that one. I was at work, so
okay.
I was just running back and forth once in a while to say things. That one I missed.
There was a fumble. It was the start of the fourth quarter Dion Lewis has the football, and he loses control of the football. The Jaguars pick it up. Miles Jack picks it up and starts to head towards the end zone. There is nobody around him. They blow the whistle. They have a review. They have to do the whole thing to make sure it wasn't he wasn't down, and of course it confirms that it was a fumble. Now I've asked a couple people, do you remember at all him being touched, Miles Jack being touched? And no one I've spoken to says that they can remember him being touched. So basically, the officials stopped what would have been a touchdown for Jacksonville. This is when the Jaguars are up 20-10. So if the Jaguars get a touchdown there, it's game's over. It's 27-10.
Game's over at that
game's
point,
over.
yeah.
So what the heck? I understand that if it's a very close play, you have to blow the whistle. I get that. But if he was untouched, that's a bad job by the officials. It really is a bad job.
But why are they blowing the whistle? Somebody's running the other side for the touchdown. Let it play out.
Exactly.
And go to the replay, and then go to the replay.
Exactly.
Why do you have to blow? Oh, well, the ref blew the whistle, so it was a dead ball at that point. No, don't blow the whistle.
Exactly.
Nobody's getting killed. Let it finish. Let it play out. I see that not only that play that you're talking about is a classic. Go back through the regular season. How many more plays were like that?
A lot.
I mean, the whistle, it's dead ball. Why is it a dead ball? Why did you blow the whistle? There was no reason to blow a whistle. Oh, we didn't have control. And that's right. There's a bunch of, in the off season, these rules with the damn wide receivers and not control, and it's slipping in their arms. If you've got the ball in your arms, I don't care if it's slipping around. If you hit the ground and you're still holding on to it, it's either a first down, touchdown, whatever it is. It's BS. It's like a stupid rule, and there's so many more in there that are just. You're depending on the ref to make a decision on it. It's not black and white.
And this is why people are turning these games off, because the officiating in these games are just purely awful, and the rules are stupid. I mean, we can go over the touchdowns that they have taken away this year, and ironically, a lot of these touchdowns the officials have taken away have involved the Patriots. And when that fumble happened, I was waiting for them to just overturn the fumble. I was like, I was waiting for them to say he was down. Fortunately, they didn't do that. They still gave the ball to Jacksonville. But my God, you're right. Just let the play out. Let him run to the end zone. Say it's a touchdown, and then review it. And if he's down, then just say so. But it's just so bizarre the way they make these rules in the NFL. It's so bizarre.
You're going to review it anyway.
Exactly.
You're going to review it anyway. So why blow the whistle?
The officiating is just awful. I mean, it's just putrid in these games. And
that's why I can't watch these games.
They're terrible. And I've said this all year. What's going to happen in the Super Bowl? Are they going to have another one of these situations where it be either a fumble that they blow dead when they shouldn't? Is it going to be a touchdown for the opposing team against the Patriots that they're going to say, oh, well, he never had possession when it's clearly he had possession? I mean, something stupid is going to happen in the Super Bowl. You know it's going to happen, and then everyone's going to talk about it. And this is the kind of face that the NFL's putting out there. And Roger Goodell and Al Riveron, who's in the head of officiating over there, no one's doing anything about it. No one's saying anything about it. They got a huge problem over there. It's ridiculous. It just makes me angry. It really does. But here they go. They want the Patriots in the Super Bowl. The Patriots are there. Eagles dominate the Vikings. Vikings didn't show up at all, and now we got this again. Just incredible. Really is.
Did you hear today the Patriots are the home team?
Yes.
That they've decided to wear white.
Yes.
Because they've only won Super Bowls when they wear white.
Yeah. 12 of the last 13 teams to win the Super Bowl did it wearing their white jerseys, road jerseys.
Right.
So, I don't know. I mean, do you want to believe in superstition? Fine. I don't take much into that, but it's ridiculous.
I don't either, but I think that's what they're reverting to.
Mm-hmm. That's what they're.
Instead of just wearing your home jersey.
Yeah, I mean they would have worn the home jersey this year because the AFC is the so-called designated home team. Next year, the NFC team is going to be the designated home team. So whatever, but I mean, I think they're going to win the game regardless of that. But here's something that's fascinating. We started talking about this with the fan apathy for this. Not just the ratings have been a problem. But there is it's kind of a bizarre story. apparently people would rather see an asteroid hit the Earth. I'm not even kidding on this. People would rather see an asteroid hit the Earth than watch the Super Bowl. Apparently, there's an asteroid called Asteroid 2002 AJ129. I'm glad it's labeled. Apparently, it's set to approach the Earth at around 9:30 p.m. the night of the Super Bowl. And people on Twitter are going crazy saying that one guy writes, "I've come to terms with the fact that I'm rooting for an asteroid to hit Minneapolis for Eagles Patriots."
Well, this is the thing. If you're not a true football fan,
Yes.
like real diehard, you definitely aren't watching and could care less.
Yeah.
There's people out there who don't like sports or and definitely don't like football. And football's gotten more, less appealing because of the kneel down BS and hear all this stuff. And they're like, why am I watching these people if I'm not a real fan anyway? So for even the casual fan who'll watch because they want to see the Super Bowl commercials, you can get those after the fact on YouTube or anywhere else, all right, and see them all. People aren't going to watch. I bet you it's one of the lower-rated Super Bowls.
Yeah,
I don't know why I'm thinking that.
I suspect that too. And, I was looking at the history of the ratings for the Super Bowl of late. And the last time these two teams met, the rating was 86, which was down from the previous year, which was 90 million people on average. That was Super Bowl 39, compared to 38. Now, last year's Super Bowl drew a rating of 111.3 million on average. That was down from the last 2 years. I've been saying this all year, and connecting it to the national anthem protest, the officiating, which we've talked about as well. I think I wouldn't be shocked if we approach 100 million people on average. I think it could be you could lose an average of about a 10 to 11 million people on average for this game. I really do. I wouldn't be shocked.
And I'm going to tell you the New York ratings, I would think are going to be very low compared to a lot of the country. I'm just taking a guess. Because if you're, like I said, a Jet or Giant fan, I'm not saying you're going to check. I'm not saying you're going to flip the dial and look. Who has the Super Bowl, by the way? What is it? Fox or is it?
It's NBC or in the term phrase of Howard Stern, WNBC. NBC.
Oh, okay.
Yeah,
I thought it was Fox because if it's Joe Buck, I'm definitely not watching. But what I'm saying is, in the New York area, you check, but you're not going to stay with it. Mm-hmm. Why am I watching something? I can't even root for. I like sports where I root for a team. Mm-hmm. I can't just watch a game for the hell of it. Mm-hmm. I will, and I kind of secretly root for, maybe the underdog, depending. I don't care if it's college. I don't care what I'm watching. Mm-hmm. This game, I mean, it can end in a tie for all I care.
Yeah, well, the playoff ratings this year have been down anywhere between 9 to 20% in all these playoff games, and even these playoff games, the championship round was down compared to years past. The NFC rating drew a 24 rating. That was down 11% from last year. The AFC rating was also down from the last couple of years. So people are turning it off. People just are losing interest right now. I'm more fascinated by what the final rating is going to be than anything else. I really am, because the apathy, the anger is just beyond the pale. And you know what? I kind of wish that spring training baseball started February 4th. I wish they could just...
I know, really.
I really do. I mean, I bet you if ESPN had Yankees-Red Sox spring training game from Tampa, Florida, that would probably get a better rating.
Definitely in New York.
It would. Oh, my goodness.
It's 3 weeks till pitchers and catchers are ready.
I know. Thank goodness. Thank goodness. Because I just can't take
I know.
too much more
I'm
of
like
this.
tired of football. I'm way... tired of it all.
I know.
So I'm ready for baseball.
Anyway, so the Super Bowl, love it, hate it, despise it, want to turn off the TV from it, going to watch it, whatever you're going to do, it's coming in a couple of weeks. Patriots and the Eagles, as I said, whether you like it or not. Now, the Giants, last thing on the football here, the Giants officially named Pat Shurmur as their head coach. Now, a couple of things I'll say about this. Now, I saw that Mike Holmgren ripped apart. I'm going to take that back. He didn't rip him. I'm not going to say rip apart, but he just critiqued Pat Shurmur in an article with Gary Myers in the Daily News, and with Gary Myers, he sensationalizes everything, saying that Shurmur is rigid, that he needs to loosen up, and that he was too tight around in the offices there in Cleveland when he was the head coach there. A couple things. One, it's the Cleveland Browns. Two, it's not exactly like Mike Holmgren did wonders there in the front office there in Cleveland. And three, I don't care really what the personality of the coach is. Bill Belichick has the worst personality in football. I mean, the guy's dour all the time, and the guy wins championships. I mean, look at Rex Ryan. The guy's a goofball. He's out of coaching. So the personality doesn't matter. It's all about going out there and winning. And let's just give this guy Pat Shurmur a chance and just see what happens here with the Giants before we jump the gun here.
Well, I would think so. First of all, remember Belichick was with Cleveland.
Yes.
Remember?
Yes.
And he stunk up the joint because it's just the organization. So Pat Shurmur and Holmgren, I think Holmgren, there's some sour grapes there with him. I don't know why. And first of all, when was he coach of the Cleveland? It was a while ago.
2010,
People
2011.
change.
Yeah. It was 8 years ago.
You know, like Tom Coughlin. He changed after there was an issue, and he talked to his players with Strahan, and he changed. He still was somewhat of a disciplinarian, but it became where he was approachable. So I'm sure this guy, they say he's a wonderful offensive coordinator. All right, here we go again. But I'm sure, give him a chance to, settle in. I mean, you could say all you want about somebody. And why is Holmgren saying anything anyway?
I'm not sure. I'm not sure. And the thing is, from what last I understood, is that Pat Shurmur was a guy who was a part of his staff for a long time. Holmgren's staff going back to Green Bay and Seattle those days. So I'm not too sure why he would want to rip one of his guys. That doesn't make a lot of sense. That's why I'm saying that there's always a chance that maybe Holmgren said that he had some concerns or worries about him in Cleveland and he hopes he cleans up. And maybe it was just taken out of context. Always a strong possibility. But
well, you can't go by the Cleveland job, because if you did that, Belichick wouldn't have gotten another job.
Of course not. I mean, Cleveland's a disaster, and by all accounts, let's be honest. I mean, Shurmur went 9-23 in 2 years in Cleveland. 9 wins in Cleveland in 2 years is essentially like winning 23 games for somebody else.
It is.
I mean, really. I mean, it's put him in a Hall of Fame. I mean, my goodness. I mean,
right.
You have Hugh Jackson this year, who went he's won 1 game in 2 years. I mean, give me a break.
I know.
Jesus.
I don't get it. And when Belichick was there, he didn't win much either.
No. Not at all.
And then Mangini went over there. Remember that? You notice Mangini hasn't had another job since.
Not at all.
Either.
Not at all.
I mean, so, Cleveland, I wouldn't want to go. Now, Todd Haley's going over there as offensive coordinator, but you got to have players.
And they
Now, I heard today that the Giants are looking at Josh Allen and the Senior Bowl. They're very high on him as a quarterback. So that's not one of those other two that people are still not quite Darno and Rosen.
Yeah.
I hear mixed messages on both of those.
Yeah, and the thing with Rosen that bothers me is just his personality. I mean, I don't have the quote in front of me, but he actually, I'm going to pull it up here, but it was a very arrogant quote, and everything that comes out with this kid just bugs me. I just got a feeling that this kid's got bust written all over him. I really do. And I'm talking about Josh Rosen from UCLA. He said, "I'd rather be a lower pick at the right team than a higher one at the wrong team." So basically he's telling you and telling everybody in the NFL that if you are a top 5 team, I don't want to be drafted by you. Or he's going to at least cause a problem and try to get himself traded.
Right.
I just don't understand it. And even Darnold did the same kind of thing earlier with Cleveland and the Jets and then took it back. I know that Eli wanted to be traded from San Diego to the Giants, but that happened on draft day. I've never seen, same thing with Elway with the Colts and the Broncos. All that stuff happened draft day. I've never seen kids coming out of college who haven't even been drafted yet, haven't even gone through the combine and the Senior Bowl, with all these ridiculous demands. I mean, it's just all these prima donnas at the quarterback position. Where did this come from? I mean, it's ridiculous.
I know. And what's interesting about Josh Allen is he went to the Manning Academy, passing academy in the past summer in Louisiana, which is kind of interesting in a way. Well, I don't know. We'll see. I don't know. This is a name I really haven't heard too much about. But you never know with quarterbacks. How many busts have there been? Remember Marinovich?
Ryan Leaf.
And who was that other guy?
Ryan Leaf.
He went to San Diego briefly. Brian Leaf. There's a whole mess of them. Yeah, Ryan Leaf that are busts that are so touted. And I'm not really so in love with Darnell or that Rosen. Like you said, and Rosen's got an attitude. You're not coming in here as a rookie to New York and having an attitude. Bad enough we have, what's his name over there? The wide receiver. Yeah.
Odell? Oh, my goodness.
Odell, yeah, Beckham, with the damn attitude. I mean...
And the Giants just come off...
You can't have it.
And the Giants are coming off of a year where they have all these guys who have had attitude problems. I mean, I'll be honest with you. I've also heard that the Giants are interested in Shaquan Barkley, who is a running back out of Penn State. Now, that would be a great pickup for the Giants, because he's a running back. They need a running back badly.
Yeah. A lot of people, a lot of Giant fans are saying that.
Yeah.
And have got, talked to me. And they're like, I wish they picked the running back.
Yeah.
I really do. And then pick lower on the next pick. I don't know where their next pick is.
Second round.
If it's, where, second round. Then pick up a quarterback. If this Allen kid is still there, I mean, how many teams need quarterbacks right now?
Well, there are a lot. I mean, you got the Jets, Broncos, Cardinals. I'm trying to think. Browns. Well, they always need a quarterback. The Giants down the road. I mean, that's not exactly a need right away, but it is down the road kind of thing. I mean, there's a lot of teams. I mean, there are at least half a dozen to 10 teams that need a quarterback in this draft. Buffalo Bills. I mean, there's a lot of teams. And
the thing of the Giants, their history, and I know the game has evolved, but the Giants were always strong in the lines, the offensive and defensive lines, strong at linebacker, and strong at running back. Those were always the positions on the field that the Giants when they won championships were strong in. We haven't had a really good running back. I can't remember. Really, Ahmad Bradshaw, and even then he was like almost could be a third down back because he wasn't a power back. But
Rodney Hampton, that's really going back, right?
Yeah, I mean, you're going Hampton, and then to O.J. Anderson. He was a big back when they won the. And Joe Morris, he was a little spark plug, but he was solid, Joe. I mean, and he ran well. We haven't had like a good. This Darkwa I can't stand. As soon as he hits, he gets hit, he falls down. So I mean, like, there's not a good running back for them. Would be awesome. So would be the good linebackers.
I think if
let's start bringing back the linebacking position and upgrading it.
I think the quarterback position, considering you have Eli, you have Davis Webb, who's still an unknown. The quarterback position, in my mind, I know a couple years down the road it's going to be a concern, but as of right now in 2018, it's not a problem. Yeah, okay, Eli didn't have a great year. I understand that, but you got to fix the offensive line. You got to fix your running back situation, and if you do that, the pressure on Eli Manning will be off. And all of a sudden, you might see the Eli we saw a couple of years ago. You might see Eli cut down on the turnovers a little bit here, too, going into 2018. So build a team around him, and you're going to have a different result.
Exactly. Like you said, if you shore up the offensive line, get Barkley. Say you draft Barkley first.
Sure.
Then you shore up that offensive line. You've got wide receivers. You've got a tight end in Ingram.
You got a Hall of Fame quarterback.
Right? You've got all the specialty people. Shore up your offensive line, get your running back, and you could leave Eli there. He's got 2 years left on his contract. Because who said these quarterbacks are can't miss? No, they're not can't miss. And like you said, we still don't know what we have with Davis Webb.
Nope. You don't know?
Is it Davis?
It
Webb.
is.
Anyway, but Davis Webb. So, I mean, you don't know totally what you have there. I mean, is any of these quarterbacks that are it's a strong quarterback class, really?
I don't think so. Yeah.
You know?
Yeah, I know exactly what you mean. And you know what? You take a look at that. Take a look at the AFC East here, or NFC East, I should say. Dallas is inconsistent. Philadelphia, I know, is in a Super Bowl, but you know what? Are they going to be this good next year? I have no idea. They'll probably just take a step back a little bit. Washington's going to lose Kirk Cousins most likely this spring. So you're telling the Giants not have a chance? If they do the right things, if they build the right way, yeah, they got a chance to be competitive in this division right away. Anything's possible in the National Football League. I mean, everyone thought the Eagles would be 5-11 this year. Now they're in a Super Bowl. So you just never know.
Right.
You just never know.
Exactly. It depends on injuries, which, of course, the Giants were hit hard again. I think it's the turf.
Mm-hmm.
I think the turf. I think and I know it costs money, and I know it's harder to upkeep probably. I think every field should be grassed. I'm sorry. There's too many injuries. There's more injuries now these days than there were back in the day.
They were going, yeah, and they were going that way too. They were going the grass route too. Remember, even Giant Stadium was installing grass, trays of grass,
right,
over the AstroTurf, and then all of a sudden, everyone started going back to the synthetic turf.
That black crap. Yeah. Every time they go to stop, you see this black stuff. It's like tire remnants coming flying up.
Mm-hmm.
These people, all these guys are getting more leg injuries than they have ever before. ACLs, MCLs, everything. Because even though you have that turf, there's still concrete somewhere under there at a point. Even though that top layer, whatever they came up with, I still think they should be on grass. I'm sorry. I really do.
Yeah.
And you cut down on your injuries.
I agree with you. And if I'm the Jets, you know, I would be very leery of this quarterback class too. And there's a lot of people saying that either Josh Allen, if he doesn't get picked up at the top of the round, could end up dropping to the Jets at 6. Let's talk about Baker Mayfield, who is this guy who always gets in trouble in Oklahoma. There's talk about him. I would stay away from it. You know what? If I'm the Jets, go out there and spend some money. Go get Kirk Cousins from the Redskins. Go call up the Eagles and see what they want for Foles. I know that Foles, because whatever the Eagles are going to get a king's ransom from somebody for Nick Foles. He's not their franchise. Their franchise is injured in Carson Wentz. See what the Eagles want for him.
But remember, Foles was their original draft choice a couple of years ago.
I know.
And he was starting for them. So everybody keeps saying, "Oh, he's the backup." Yeah, but he wasn't at one time.
He was a Pro Bowl quarterback.
Maybe he was the right situation.
He was a Pro Bowl quarterback. 27 touchdowns, 2 picks, just 4 years ago.
Yeah.
Yeah, and now he's in a Super Bowl. They're gonna get a top round pick for him. Because he's not going to stay there and be on the bench next year. If he wins the Super Bowl, is he going to stay there and be on the bench?
No,
I don't think so.
No.
So that's what if I were the Jets, I would go that route and, like the Giants, just focus on rebuilding everything else. Get the offensive line fixed. Now the Jets need a receiver with Robbie Anderson getting arrested. Oh my goodness, that's another one. Just fix the team around you. That's what the New York teams really should do.
Exactly. And Giants got a lot of talent. They got hurt this year, and there was a total dysfunction under McAdoo. But, like I said, you got your receivers, you got your tight end. Get the running back and shore up the offensive line. Offense is good. Eli's still there. He's capable. Like you said, you got a running game, too, and he's got those receivers. Nobody knows what's going to be coming at them. All right, you can't sit on the pass, and you can't just blitz him. All right, now go back to defense. I get a linebacker or two because you got your back. You know, I don't know, Eli Apple, another one who's like him. Maybe I'd cut him. I know he's a first round draft pick, but you know, you've got to start looking at people too with their character. I say character, but the way they conduct themselves and how they affect their teammates.
The character matters.
That's what the defense needs to do.
Yeah, and there's been a lot of bad character developments over there with the Giants. I mean, you had Landon Collins blasting Eli Apple, and too much drama there. And they need to get rid of a lot of those bad pieces. Look what happened with the. I'll use the Jets as an example again. I know they didn't have a great year, but they had all these bad apples on that team from last year in 2016, and they got rid of a lot of those guys: Sheldon Richardson, Brandon Marshall. And then the culture started to change a little bit. Now they're going to get rid of Muhammad Wilkerson, and they're going to continue to change that culture of just bringing in guys who are going to be good clubhouse guys. And that's really what the Giants, Pat Shurmur, Dave Gettleman need to focus on this year for the Giants.
Exactly. And that's what you need to do. You need to clean house a little bit and do that. Is Shurmur going to let somebody else call the plays? Or is he going to be another one with, the head coach calling the plays BS?
Well,
I hate that.
He called the plays in Cleveland. That's one thing he did do. So I would expect he's going to do that again. It's just so whoever the quarterback coach is probably going to be the de facto fail-safe as the offensive coordinator. But I think calling the plays is going to be, and it's going to be Pat Shurmur, unless they go through a situation where the team isn't doing much offensively and he has to designate somebody to call the plays. I think you'll see Shurmur call the plays this year, which I know you can't stand.
I can't stand that. I think the head coach should just be the head coach, and I think that's why you have coordinators. Then why even hire an offensive coordinator?
I don't know. That's why.
Right?
That's why I call them a de facto position coach, because they really have no position other than just being someone in on the meetings. That's it when you do that.
Exactly. And the same thing with a GM coach. In other words, the guy's the coach, but he also does the players and and all that kind of stuff. I mean, you can't be a GM/coach either. Mm-hmm. You can't do both jobs. Do the job you're supposed to do. Mm-hmm. If you want to call plays, then you stay an offensive coordinator or a defensive coordinator, however it goes. Mm-hmm. If you want to be a head coach, be a head coach. Because the head coach has got to oversee everything.
Absolutely.
And you got to make sure who's getting on. You got to oversee your special teams and everything else, and the clock management and what's going on. And that's your job as head coach. I mean, Belichick, for as good a defensive guy he was,
he lets his coaches
coach.
Coach.
I don't know if early on he called the defensive scheme. He finally deferred and got defensive coordinators. That's what you need to do.
He lets his coaches coach, and he just manages the entire operation. I agree. That's what they should do. How many times do we see this in the NFL? Doesn't matter the team. We see these coordinators come in, they take these head coaching jobs, and then they don't let go of the coordinator position. I mean, it's so ridiculous. When you're hired to be a head coach, you're hired to be the head coach because, one, yes, we acknowledge you're good at a certain skill position, whether it be offense or defense, but you're there because the team thinks you have the management skills to delineate operations to everybody else. That's the entire point. That's why you're getting hired.
I know. So then stay an offensive coordinator.
Yeah. Exactly.
Right? That's how I feel.
Now, I will say this about Shurmur. One thing that may annoy you a little bit: he is not a gift of gab. He's a very quiet. You'll notice this on Friday when you see him in the press conference. He's a very quiet, unassuming guy. When I was at Sirius, they would do interviews with him, and he's very droll. He's very, very dry, and he has a lot of football speak. You can tell he's a very intelligent guy. But if you're looking for someone that's going to enlighten you or be, I guess in the terms of the media, somewhat entertaining, not going to happen. He's going to be very, very dry. So I know that
I don't care.
You don't care.
If he can coach, I don't care what their personality is. Like you had Rex Ryan there and putting on his show and all the BS, and then the team falling apart underneath you.
Yes.
So I could care less what you are at press conferences. I just want you to go out there and coach the team and do what you're supposed to do. A lot of them, because not everybody likes getting up. I mean, just because you're a coach, it's the NFL rule. You have to have a press conference every week or whatever it is. A lot of people aren't comfortable maybe doing that. They are in front of a group talking about football and doing their thing, but here I am in front of these press people. I really don't want to be here. I want to be with my team, So, I mean, everybody's built differently. They all can't have the gift of gab, and they all can't be up there and, whatever. I don't care. As long as he is coaching the team and getting it done.
That's all that matters. Folks, that's going to wrap it up here for the Open Mic program, as we've talked a little bit about the Super Bowl, a little bit of a reaction to it, and the, I guess, negativity, for that matter, surrounding the Super Bowl with regards to people not wanting to watch. We talked a little bit about the Giants and the head coaching search and a little bit about the draft. The next time Karen and I are on, you know what we're going to talk about, Karen? We're going to talk about something that we both like. Baseball!
Good.
Thank goodness.
I can't wait. I can't wait.
We're going to open up spring training.
I'm so excited.
We're going to soak in the sun. We're going to hear the ball hitting leather. Listen,
in
sound
March,
the bats. Can't
I'm
wait.
going down to Florida in February. I'm going down in March and
man.
seeing the Yankees. They're going to be playing the Marlins in Jupiter, and I've got tickets.
Giancarlo Stanton versus Derek Jeter will be an arm wrestling match on home plate.
Really?
I'll say this. I will leave you with this. If the Patriots do win the Super Bowl, and they want to call themselves the king, they want to call themselves the best team, and Boston fans want to call themselves the best fan base and everything, do not fret, folks. All you New York fans out there who are upset about this, because the judge is going to have a say in about Boston this summer. Just saying.
Oh, absolutely.
Oh, yes.
Absolutely.
The judge is coming for
the gavel. The gavel's coming down.
All right, Karen. I'll talk to you later.
All right. Take care.
Take care.
Bye-bye.
Bye-bye. Folks, that's Karen Van Cat. We'll talk to you next time. Remember to follow us on Twitter at OpenMicNJ, Facebook.com/OpenMicProgram, and like and subscribe right here on YouTube to the Sports Talk Nation. Talk to you next time.